About 1 in 4 kids grow up with an absent father, meaning that about 25% of people can relate to you. So I put together 3 different character types that I believe you're likely to fall into if you're raised without a father, because if you're aware of it, you're able to take control of your life back, which is important because while one of these outcomes is good, the other 2 are pretty bad. Before we get into it, hello, my name's Lucky. I'm a psych major who makes videos to help you mentally grow and in turn physically glow. I'm currently in a race to become the #1 Lucky Psychology account on YouTube. We're merely trailing behind this AI account that has 10.7 thousand subscribers. We're close behind with 16, so subscribe if you think I'm worth it. Disclaimer, I'm using some influencers as examples of their behavior. Of course, these archetypes are not going to cover every single route that you can go down if you have daddy issues, but I think they do a pretty good job of covering the broader areas. So the archetypes include Bradley Martyn, Jack Doherty, and Clavicular. Crazy lineup, I know. I'll explain what all these mean in a moment. I think it's important first to define what an absent father is. This includes anyone who has a parent, not necessarily a father, who lacks the love needed to raise a child. Of course, no parent is perfect, but some of them suck a bit more than others. Whether you feel unseen, your parent is emotionally checked out, or they are physically absent, this video is probably for you. Alright, stop yelling at me, let's get into it. Now, why am I using Bradley Martyn as the face for this archetype? Well, if you don't know who he is, a quick Google search tells you that Bradley Martyn is an American fitness influencer, YouTuber, and entrepreneur. He's widely known for his massive physique, viral athletic stunts, and training programs. But that's not the version of Brad that we're going to be talking about. He's said on multiple occasions that he used to be a douchebag, and that he even cringes while reflecting on his younger self. But now, he's a huge advocate for therapy, self-improvement, and that is the route that a lot of kids go down when they become adults after being raised by an absent father. Let's quickly go through why and how this happens before we go into the more dramatic categories. Insecurity is a psychological state where adults that experience neglect, inconsistency, or trauma in childhood later teach themselves healthier habits. This happens because individuals often develop unhealthy coping mechanisms and insecure patterns like anxious or avoidant attachment styles. And while you may think that this would come from a drastic wake-up call, that's actually not the full story. While there usually is a starting point like hitting rock bottom, having a bunch of shitty relationships in a row, or some life-altering event like marriage, having kids, or experiencing the loss of a loved one, it's not a quick change right after this starting point. It's actually a very slow and gradual journey of realizing and rewiring one's thought patterns to then allow the nervous system not to respond to the same triggers, and in turn developing healthier coping mechanisms, secure relationship patterns, and overall just relearning how to navigate the world. But slow your roll if this is you, because this doesn't make you better than other people with daddy issues, it just makes you more aware. And if this isn't you, hopefully this video can help you become more aware if you realize that you're actually one of the next 2 archetypes. Because while this one's generally positive, the other 2 are quite negative, with the last one even resulting in the harm of oneself or others. Ugh, Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty. Jack Doherty. Jackson. If you don't know who he is, let me give you a quick rundown. He started posting online as a kid doing just flips, stunts outside, water bottle flip challenges in the midst of that 2016 YouTube era. Now let's fast forward a few years, skipping over all the random stuff he did purely for views, all the way to the streaming craze, where now he gets in fights and aggravates strangers for views, allegedly abused his girlfriend, and also allegedly signs girls to OF contracts before they're even legal age. And no, I'm not talking about Odd Future. If you haven't formed your opinion on this guy yet, he's bad, like very bad. Some would even say evil, because he does everything in the pursuit of money and fame, to the point where I can confidently say that he's trying to prove to the world, or rather himself, that he's actually worth something, which is actually very common for a kid raised with an absent parent. Children naturally turn to their parents to understand their self-worth. When a parent is gone, so is that guidance, leaving an emotional hunger and confusion that can manifest into self-blame, the mindset of wrongfully believing that they're to blame for their parent not being there, thinking that they weren't enough for the parent to stay. And as these people turn into adults, the hunt for validation doesn't stop there. You see, they need that praise to prove to themselves and the world that they're actually worth something, which can go in a few different directions. I believe that the 3 main categories for validation fall under money, fame, and peers. Money. What I mean by this is whether it's through entrepreneurship, academic success, or even something illegal. Whatever they deem as the best path to money, they'll pursue over everything else, sacrificing morals, severing friendships, whatever it takes, to fill that bowl of validation that they don't realize is actually a strainer. Hey, I came up with that on the fly. That's a quote. And I said that one for free. Give me a like for that. Fame. Especially in the modern day with social media allowing anybody to have a voice and a platform, it's a very easy and direct way to get validation. But some people take it to extremes, like Jack Doherty, doing anything for views and clicks, sacrificing themselves in the process, because they become whatever the viewer wants to see rather than just being themselves. And lastly, validation. This is just through close friends, being the butt of a joke, doing whatever they're dared to, or playing some character that simply isn't them, in the pursuit to make the people in the room laugh, even if they don't actually enjoy it. While this one can get pretty unhealthy, the next one is actually detrimental. Clavicular! I don't know why I did that. If you've been living under a rock, he's addicted to looks maxing, which is described on the Urban Dictionary as the process of making yourself look better, commonly used by incels. Clavicular quite literally achieves this through doing smashing his face with a hammer and steroids and Botox. Most of that probably needed to get blurred out, but you understand what I'm saying. In concept, trying to look better isn't a bad thing, but when you take it to extremes, much like anything else, it becomes dangerous. And that's exactly why he's the face of this category. Father absence is directly correlated with identity confusion, increased susceptibility to peer influence, and a greater likelihood of joining gangs or extremist groups as a way to feel included. Social media feeds you whatever content is going to keep you on their platform. For some, it's cats and dogs, maybe memes, maybe relationship content, but for others, it's that deep desire to feel included in a community that keeps them online. Maybe it's conspiracy theorists, a certain political ideology, or in Clavicular's case, looks maxing. Now I could go on and on about this endless funnel of tunnel vision content, but for this video, all you need to take away is that whatever you interact with, you're gonna see more of. So when a susceptible teen is scrolling the internet and a person associated with a certain group, whether it's a racist, a sexist, someone from the red pill community, or an extremist in some political fashion, if this teen is persuaded by what they're saying, they're gonna like the video, which will then tell the algorithm to feed them more of this type of content, making them slowly be acclimated into this group, which feels amazing. Being a part of something bigger than yourself is awesome. And so this cycle of feeling included and becoming more and more attached to this online ideology until the line between the internet and reality blurs to the point that it's hard to see. I really hope you're following. But let's go through best and worst case scenario of this. So best case scenario, this kid who lacked a fatherly figure becomes a part of a community that supports and uplifts each other. No one can be mad at that, right? Worst case scenario, this kid becomes a part of a group that thrives off hatred and begins slowly spewing and acting upon this disdain toward whoever or whatever they were taught to hate, resulting in hate crimes, attacks. You can just imagine how bad that can get. Alright, so if you're still here, I assume you have a not so present parent in your life, and I want to leave you with a message. You're not broken, it's not your fault, and you're worth it. To most people, those 10 words come naturally, but for you, it's not that easy. You need to remind yourself that every single morning. Trust me, I would know. You're doing amazing. Consider subscribing. Have a good one.